Hello, man. Hello, Mgtows. We'll give it a few minutes for the guys. Well, it takes a while for anybody to know that I'm actually here. So, um, so we'll just give it a few minutes. Hello, Mgtows. We'll give it a few minutes for the guys. Well, it takes a while for and I gotta set my sound and everything. You know what I gotta do. It's a process sometimes, and I don't have a team. Team Mgtow, go Mgtow. I wish we did have Team Mgtows to work on these things with, but we don't, and that would take actually having guys in your neighborhood that were Mgtow and everything, and that would be. I noticed this today. You see that? That's like that's my uh, that's my sprite. I put it up before, and I was like, oh, well, that is so cool. You can see right through, but you can't see me. That's the thing. That is so cool, Sprite. Oh man, I love that. Okay, I'm done playing. I'm done playing. Today we're going to talk about red pill. We're going to talk about red pill versus Mgtow. We're going to talk about a lot of those things, and it's quite a subject now. And there's a lot of red pillars out there, and there's a lot of Mgtows, and we get this little in between. This in between scuffle, or what is Mgtow and what are we doing here? And then we have the red pillars that well, they just it's a when you notice, when you have your existential moment in this lifetime, when you notice the world doesn't quite line up to what they're telling you. Somebody's lying to you. A lot of things are formed and shaped, and the norms that assist society, and whether it assists society or not, it may or may not assist you in your living and what you're doing. And that's when we get in trouble. Marriage and dating and mating and appropriation and all those things assist society. They keep our systems going, and men work, and men are put in traditional roles, and women work now, and they're put in traditional roles, and everybody's asking, wow, this is there's really no need for those traditional roles. And I think that's what we notice when we first get the red pill. Hello, Mgtow Warrior. Hello, Brissy Boy. When we first get the red pill, it's this awakening to society that a lot of things in gender dynamics is not it's not right. And there's this traditional part of living that you're expected to sign up for, and you got to negotiate that thing, and you got to find the perfect Nawalt. And when I see the red pillars talking, and we used to just call them MRAs, and now they're re-identifying, rebranding themselves, and I think that has a lot to do with it. The MRAs are rebranding themselves because they got labeled a hate group, so they have to rebrand themselves. And what better to rebrand themselves to than something that Mgtow created, the red pill. They just hijacked it. It's entryism, and they hijack it. But we get a lot of them that don't understand what Mgtow is about. The other level, like I talk about I'll get in the middle here. The new guys in the existential moment that you're having, and you get the red pill, you're over here, you're on the fence about, and then Mgtow's way, way over here. And we're considered we're considered a little bit extreme by them. They're still negotiating and bargaining with how to do that thing, and how to get everything they personally want out of gender dynamics through marriage and through dating. And most of them are thinking about that down there, and they'll never say that. They're thinking about that. They're thinking about having kids. They're thinking about fulfilling those male urges to procreate. and that's what they're negotiating with. But nowadays it's very risky. We all know how risky it is. I don't think you have to tell a man nowadays, unless he's dense, that you're entering into a contract with the state, and that's a risky proposition. And if you do have children, it's not going to leave you in the best of shape if you're just a normal working guy. Uh, a normal working guy will average, 30, $40,000 a year. Uh, his wife will average 30, $40,000 a year. That together, it's pretty good income, and you can afford to live the American dream in a house in the suburbs and that stuff. And but that risky proposition that they make in bargaining with the risky propositions that you're asking her to fill a traditional role that she never really wanted to fill. And maybe she wanted to sow her oats, and I see a lot of young guys fall into this. They get married at 20, 22 years old, and they never really experience life. And then she starts wandering, he starts wandering. They got kids. Uncle Sam's got to intervene in that thing because them traditional roles and those. We talk about those in. I talk about those, especially the roles that are the social contracts that are placed on males that are just social contracts. Father is a social contract. There's never been a point in my life where I don't think I believe that like I was having a baby. I always knew she was having a baby. There was no doubt in my mind that I couldn't. I can't have babies. I can donate sperm in a genetic sense, and that's all I can do. But those social roles of paydor, the responsible party, that means in Latin and German, or derived from German, Latin. The responsible party make you payer, which is a payer terminal, and that's what you will be on your $40,000, $50,000 or your $30,000, $40,000 a year. And 1/3 of that, because Uncle Sam's going to take his. He is. Every employer in the world pays that, just takes it right out of your pay, unless you got a different system, but you're still going to have to pay it at the end. And then she's going to take 1/3 or more, and then you're going to try to live on, or you're going to have to get two jobs, and that's the horror side of it. That's the horror side I see most men living through. And when you're young, having two jobs, I was able to work up two jobs right up to about 42. I owned a bar at that point, and I worked at the mill and the plow company for at that time, and I owned the bar across the street. So I get off work and I do that, and my ex would go home, and she would fill those traditional roles, and I was able to do that. To one day I just buckled, my knees buckled, and 4 hours of sleep and everything. You're going to buckle at one point, and then you're going to get sick. You're going to find out a lot about life at that point if you get sick and you can't do that, and then things start catching up with you, and she still wants that pay coming in. Yeah, and you will find out what the disposable male means. And these terms, when we talk about them, we talk about disposable males. That's the point where the red pill, if you're taking like a soft aspect on the red pill, you're looking for this family, you're looking for these things. You think you found that one that understands that she's the Nawalt. She's the one that's going to fill those traditional roles and everything. But that was never a contract she wanted to have anyways. And you, as being a red pill, that's what it gets all confusing to me about these guys. They said, oh, I'm just going to find a girl that's a red pill girl and she understands. But if she has the same concepts and existential angst that you have, telling her to fulfill those traditional roles is retarded, and she's going to want to do what she wants to do, and that's when they often get labeled feminist, and we see the search, the plight for the dragon. Then what made her that? Oh, it must have been this evil feminism. We'll blame it on this evil philosophy of feminism that's out there. Now, feminism is for girls post marriage. Or girls that don't want to get married. They don't want a man to stick around. Traditional what I call trad cons that's the girl you're looking for, and you want her to just be fat and happy in the kitchen, and you can use her as a penis pocket at night. And And that's the truth. That's the way most people think. And I know there's these unfriendly observations, but she's going to want to fill you to fill the role. And after you get done filling that role, she's still going to have that existential angst at some point where, because you picked her, you said you wanted a red pill woman, and that's where it bothers me, because that red pill woman is going to take the feminism like a bee to honey. It's like, hey, yeah, I can have everything. I get a slave, one. You pay for everything. I can get a boyfriend with a with a with an income, and I got my income, and Uncle Sam's going to take care of all the little details like schooling and taking care of the kids while we're not home, and socialism will pretty much take care of that. And everybody loves socialism, while they're teaching your kids or taking care of your kids, so you can run around and do what you want. And it makes women into polyandric beings, where they can run through 3, 4 husbands, have a variety of different kinds of little children. They can have, all different sorts of them, and they're a polyandric being. And then the polyandry is great for women, but that's not what you wanted to begin with. You asked for a girl that understood traditionalism, understood this red pill. Now you got these two concepts, traditionalism and red pill, that are about diametrically opposed to each other as Satan and God. And that's the way the new red pill people think. It's they're sort of they're having this existential angst, and they're not really willing to. They want to form it to form to their beliefs. They want to bend it so it bends to their beliefs, and it's a friendly, more male friendly kind of groovy red pill, where she really believes. And that's what each one of us were told before, even before the red pill. I really thought that was the one. Really, I did. I thought that was the one. She's going to be the one that understands for the rest of her life. She's going to love me. She said it to God in a church, in front of her parents, in front of all the family. Why wouldn't she? But that ends. She has existential angst because that's what you picked. And I think even back then, when I was picking, I was doing the same thing. I was picking a more modern type female that understood more modern type thinking. And when that exploded in my face, I was like, oh. And she loved that feminism. Feminism is great. Feminism sent her to school. Feminism, if you want to blame it on feminism, it's just now she has me, a boyfriend, and Uncle Sam taking care of her. And that's sexual cryptis. I try to explain this. She has care from the whole community. She can go to school for free. God, she can. There's freedoms involved with that. She can have other kids. She couldn't have other kids at that point because she had hysterectomies. But everything was taken care of. And yes, there's a lot of benefits and perks to that. And if you don't think a female is going to wake up and see that, that's crazy. But on your side of the role, you say, I don't want to take on this. I don't want to take on this role as a male that's placed in. I don't want to be the protector and provider. I don't want to. I want the choice of abortion too. I like to go progressive on the progressives. The progressives come around and they're all for abortion until you go, yeah, I love abortion. I want to go. I want to get an abortion myself, and I want to have financial abortion available for males too. And they'll go, oh no, you're being that extreme guy again. And then they go conveniently conservative. That hypocrisy just blows my mind when I see it. And there's a lot of instances where even the progressives, when you start going progressive, and that's why I do it. If you didn't understand, some of these guys are like, why does Joe do that? Why does Joe act like a Libby sometimes? Well, I go progressive on the progressive so they see their idiocracy. Man, if you've been watching me for any time, you'll know I'm a walking ball of sarcasm. I'm a walking ball of philosophical sarcasm. What would you expect from me? Uh, but I see this all the time, and they're asking the bargain with that traditional conservatism, and there's no bargaining with that. If you take on the female, it's A to B to C. And C is usually a divorce 92% of the time, if you make it through the 86% of the time from 20 to 35. And that's even probably about 32. And you can check out my stats. It's easy to look up. My stats are about the most correct stats in on YouTube, but they'll argue with them. 50-50, man. You know why a lawyer says 50-50? Idiots. Because there's a man and a woman gets a divorce and man gets an order. That's a 50-50 proposition for them. They don't worry about the stats, actually. Jesus. That is so cool. The Sprite can, that is so cool. See that Sprite? It's green. I didn't think it would do that, but it doesn't go through on me. And that's why it just goes through on the picture. I would like to hold it up and so drink Sprite. Maybe I'll get a commercial. Hello, everybody that's in today. Today we're talking about the red pill, the new red pillars that are coming around that are still bargaining with the traditional conservatism. We're just going to go through that today, and it looks ridiculous to us. It looks ridiculous to us Mgtows, but there's this new red pill, and like I said, that's the MRAs rebranding themselves because they took it too far and they became a hate group. So today I'll say hello to everybody in my, let me go back to the YouTube page and say, hey, Mgtow Thread, hey, Mr. Elite, how are you today, to Mr. Elite, and hey, Brissy Boy, one of my favorite followers, Brissy Boy there, and hello everybody, Stone Reaper and Mgtow Warrior, hello Mgtow Warrior, everybody that shows up that really watches the red pills or the Mgtow streams and everything. And I brand myself a Mgtow. I just don't say it out there anymore because I get taken down. Traversable Mgtow got taken down, and he got a red mark on the. Who else? I got taken down. I was Traversable Mgtow. I got taken down. I was Joe Byrne. I got taken down. They took that account. Who else was I? I can't remember. Oh, Traversable Underground, that got taken down. Before, in between Joe Byrne, there was the one I used with the moon, and it said Mgtow on it. It was the Battlestar. Yeah, that was years and years ago, and that was what was that? I was trying to figure that out. What was one of my first accounts that I got taken down? So there was like 4 of them, and but this one does pretty good. But I do say Traversable Mgtow right up on that corner, and that's okay because I like that. So we're talking about traditionalism today, and we're talking about the red pill traditionalism versus there's always a slip back with them. There's always some shaming language. We see this in the manosphere now with the name calling between some of the guys. You're calling Hammerhand a deadbeat dad, and I don't think he's a deadbeat dad, and that's something that shouldn't be even mentioned because that's a shaming language. That's code red shaming, and we really got to go over. Back about 2010, we made a list of all the codes of shaming, and there was code red, there was code blue, there was code pink, there was code. We got to go back over those one of these days, so the guys know what the shaming tactics are, and they can just, oh, that's a code red factor there, and but that's way back in the beginning of Mgtow. So these red pillars, we're getting a whole lot of them too around lately, and there's a whole influx of red pillars that seem to come up on the Mgtow pages, and then we get to today. Oh God, I was looking at we are so saturated with garbage now. even to today, you go to Mgtow and then you type in, because you go to Mgtow and you're going to see Dr. Grande and you're going to see Bulldog Mindset and Sandman, and that's all you're going to see. So you got to go deeper, do a deep dive. So you go to today, and then you see just saturated with, there was this guy making 30 videos a day, and somehow he got himself rated. And it's a good way to get yourself rated if you're coming into Mgtow. Make yourself 5-6 videos a day and keep dropping them until you get rated. But to keep it up is just kind of, it's not fair to the other Mgtows, because you're not going to get you're not going to get your place, and everybody gets bounced down 10 videos, and then it just becomes like that front page. And then we got to do something about that front page too. I think we can all take a collection and start putting the videos we want up there, and we'll just pay the ad revenue for those videos. And then if I give $10 and each guy gives $10, we can pick out a set of videos that clearly explain what is Mgtow. Or we can all do a video or something, and hey, I'm Traversable, and hey, I'm Mgtow Thread, and I'm, Mgtow. We can all get all the producers together and say, this is Mgtow. And then we can switch the voices off and everything, and just pay to have that one on top all the time. That's what I think would be best for Mgtow. But until we could do that, until some people catch, well, I'll keep saying it and keep saying the idea, and then somebody else will come up with the idea and say, oh, that's great. Yeah, that's what always happens. But we're going to have to buy our way to the top, because that's what they're doing. They're buying their way to the top. They're paying for the ad revenue. And hey, if you got $1 million and I could pay for the ad revenue, I would. I swear to God, I would help out every one of you guys in there to get your videos to the top too, over that. But with that, we get a lot of that red pill stuff, and you'll notice each one of these guys are like, I'm more red pill than I am Mgtow. They're just saying they're MRAs, because the MRAs rebranded themselves to get away from what was that, the Southern Poverty Law, because they branded them a hate group. I still think that's so cool with the can. That is just yeah, but the shaming language has to stop. And I think there's a little bit of we do a little bit of shaming language when we in here towards each other too. And I mean, when you see a simp out there, call them a simp. There's no problem with that. Simps, beggars, white knights, cackling hyenas. When you see them, call them that. But learn the lingo too. This guy's just a cackling hyena. This guy's just a simp. This guy's just a white knight. And they'll show themselves after a while. And most of the red pillars will have one of those or two of those characteristics in them, where he's still simping for the women. He's white knighting. He's just a cackling hyena. He's out there whistling, doing all the cat calling, making a spectacle of himself. And he got the PUAs and that stuff doing that. And that's all non-Mgtow stuff. We have names for them, and we call them those names beggars. There you'll see the beggars begging for the P, the split V. They're just begging for the split P out there, and that's not Mgtow. Married men, and I'm sorry, these still can't be Mgtow. I'm sorry, you're just a Mgtow supporter, but we appreciate the support if men are married and in those positions, and I understand it's not something you can get out of now. There's no Mgtow clause to the marriage contract where they rip it up. That is so cool. That is just so cool. And I didn't even do my thing. I have to do it with the left hand. You guys go your own way, and do the Mgtow thing, and all your simp sins from the past are forgiven. That's what they say. If you were a simp in the past, that's fine. If you're a beggar in the past, that's fine. Leave that at the Mgtow door. But with these new red pill and the red pill world that's coming around, even they got a lot of weird ideas. They want to bargain with traditionalism. They're going to bargain with that, because girls going to understand that. Now, we used to know that as what we used to call that. We like, they're all a waltz. They're all knee waltz until they become a waltz. That one's the special unicorn, and she's going to tell you she's everything you want. She's able to put that mask on, that mask. And she's able to put that mask on and wear it for a long time, until she becomes the all Walt. All women are like that, and all women have a gun in their room. All women could pull that trigger anytime they want, and that's what that's about. We thought we taught that. That's strictly a Mgtow thing, and that's the one thing I think they alleviate themselves from, the red pill scenario out there, the red pillars. They don't believe in the no Walt and the all Walt. They have to learn that lesson. They all know Waltz when you first meet them. Oh, my mother's not like that. My sister's not like that. This girl I know, she's the perfect one. She's a unicorn. She's not like that. Yeah, yeah, sure. The truth of the matter is 92% of the time in this world of modernity and postmodernism and post-existentialism to modernism and feminism and all these things, women get a pretty good education on how to get out of marriages. And it doesn't mean as much as it used to. And like I said, my ex-wife stood before God, stood before everyone in her family, stood before my family, stood before the world, and said, "Till death do us part." And they don't take that very seriously. And with the idea that she was a little French Christian girl, and watch out for those French ones. Stay away from the French ones. And that meant nothing at the end. And she was right. She was right. She didn't have to. And I would say, well, I didn't have to ever either. And just, no, you still have to. Because you as a male, you have a contract with the state. And the state's going to say he wants 1/3 of your pay. She doesn't have to. And that's where we find out that's where we get, it's absurd. It's an absurd thing to say that. I believe that people should enter relationships with no father. You're not father, and she can be a feminist all she wants, and the relationship lasts a few weeks, and then you donate your DNA and you go away. And that's the way I believe relationships should work, and that's the way they worked back in caveman days, and that's the way they worked for 1,000,000 years before 1900. Somehow things change. We brought some new ideas. Them ideas were romanticism, the evils of romanticism, and religiousness, the religiosities of things, and Christianity. People believe that Christianity was really big up to the 1400s. No, it wasn't. It was Neoplatoism was really big up to the 1400s. If you don't know what Neoplatoism, that's like Western esotericalism, but go study it if you want. And then after the 1400s, the age of Victorianism, when Christianity started grabbing hold of this world and started changing laws, and that's when the norms change. The religious norms change, so the laws started changing to reflect their Christian values. But that's what we see nowadays. But very modern, very new and everything, but it's a big failure. It's a huge failure. Isn't that something? I don't get a phone call all day, but I go on a podcast and I get a phone call. It's like, well, I'll see. It's probably one of my neighbors or something. But that's what I wanted to talk about, bargaining with traditionality, bargaining. Some of these red pill guys they want a partial Mgtows or quarter way Mgtows, and they're quarter. They still believe in the MRA, but they have no idea what the fight's all about. The hypocrisy and the traditional roles and everything. And they still want to make that work, and even though that's like trying to walk through a field like back there with a bunch of landmines in it, and like, go for it. If you make it through, you get the $1 million. If you make it through, you get to say you made it through. That's all it is. If you make it through the end of a marriage, or the marriage to where you're dying, you get to say you made it all the way through, and there was a lot of pain and horror. That's not a good thing. I suffered. I suffered through that whole thing, is no claim to fame when you're going before a god. It's like he'll go, "You're a jackass." I do believe gods. If there are these gods in this world, and there's these gods up there, they probably know philosophy pretty good. And he's like, "You suffered, huh? You suffered a lot. Yeah, on the planet I made to be perfect. You suffered for what? You're a jackass." But suffering for men is a lot of men want to suffer. That's really weird. They want to suffer. In this kind of world, I can understand that. We get up, we go to work, come home to our cozy houses, and there's no excitement. When was the last time you wrestled a saber-toothed tiger or chased by dogs? There's no excitement in your life, so that suffering takes the place of excitement, and I do believe that that's the problem right there. Men want excitement, and men want things not to go right sometimes, so they can fix them and they can take care of things, and they can do that manly thing and say, I beat the dogs off for you, sweetheart." It's like, but so they replace that with suffering. Wow. I was chased by a dog. I got chased by a dog. I got bit by a dog twice last year. Twice, 3 times. The last one got me on my. I don't know if I can claim it as being bit, because he just got me on the back of the pants. And but I'm a cyclist, so I got my. I don't. Do I? No, I don't have it. I got my halt spray now, where I use on dogs, because I get chased by dogs a lot. Irresponsible dog owners, and it's. I hate to. I don't want to stomp them, because my buddy, he'll be really mad at me if I stomp the dogs, and so I just spray them down with the spray and hope that stops them. And it's but it's not fun when it happens. I can guarantee you. Yeah, I was out. You can see by my rosy complexion today that I was out riding the bike today, and it was 23 degrees, and I was jumping snow mounds. Oh man, they got the snow mounds in between the shops, and I just like to go over them, because you can get a little on it. And sometimes if you got to be real careful. I've kind of figured out how to do them, but you got to be real careful jumping the snow mounds on my bike, and because you can get hurt real quick on that ice. And it was cold out there today, but I needed to get out and get some fresh air, and it's not going to be 50 till Sunday again, where I can actually get out there. So I went out on my bike today, and that's great. I just get your legs going, pumping. It is really, really hard to pump when it's sub 20 degrees. It is. Them pedals don't want to move, and it is actually 3 times as hard. I did the math on it, and I'll explain it to you if you want me to explain it to you some days, why it's 3 times harder to pump a bike in the winter than it is in the summer. And you get less distance on the rolls and everything too. But spring training is there for baseball, and that always indicates one thing to me. Yeah, spring's on its way, and all I got to do is stick it out a little farther. I'm gonna shave my beard down again, and maybe just shave it. I'm gonna do it about that. I was thinking about doing a pork chop, but this came in brown for some reason this year, and I don't know why it came in brown this year. But I'm going to probably bleach that out and do a pork chop for the summer. I'll bring it down all the way. Yeah, pork chops are interesting. You'll be the most interesting. You grow a pork chop, and you'll be the most interesting guy in the bar for sure. Did cat food stock take a hit? I think everything took a hit. We were down a little over almost 1,300 today. It was almost 1,200 today. I was watching it all day. I had it figured out last night. I woke up about 3 in the morning and something, and I checked the pre-markers, and I always keep the pre-markers coming in, and I was looking, and it was down 386 or something, and it was stuck. And so that's a bad thing, because that's going to double. So we're going to come in 700, like almost 700 down. And we did. And then it went to 1,100. I didn't think they were going to be able to rebound, because they're exhausted. and then it stayed. They tried to push it back up around noon. They got it back up to 465 down, and then it's like bam, and it's down. 3M. I see 3M coming in, and they were trying to hold it up, and they weren't able to. Usually, you see a line of companies like 3M, and the big guys come in, and Apple, 3M. The big companies, Union Carbide, stuff like that will start showing up, and they'll try to support it, but they can't. They couldn't this time because, well, it's just everybody wants to blame it on coronavirus, and I think it has a lot to do with the coronavirus and shipping. But I think we're over invested in China, and this just tells us we are so over invested in China that we have to start manufacturing in the United States again. And there's no doubt about it, because if anything pops off over there, if China ever gets into a war with Pakistan, our economy is going to crash, and then we're going to have to figure that out anyway. So why not do it? Why not do it now? Or if another, World War III breaks out in England, and which will probably happen over there, because those people are ignorant, and they always start those world wars, and they're going to start fighting sooner or later again. That won't last forever, where they won't fight. They will fight. And they're started over in India now. The Muslims and the Hindus are going at each other. That's pretty interesting, because there's like 1.3 billion of each of them. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Yeah, so the world's interesting now, at least. The world is interesting. That's my Sprite can. I think that's so cool. It's like you can see through the Sprite can. Sugary beverage is probably not the greatest thing to put on your pipes when you're trying to talk a lot, because the sugar gives you a sore throat more. And I always try to go with just a water with lemon in it, but it's Sprite today. I pedaled all the way home in the snow with a case of Sprite and my 9-pack of chicken. I just couldn't. I had to go out of the house today. I was looking around, and I forgot to shop last month, so I was getting low on stuff. And then I forgot to shop again this week, and I'm like, I got nothing. I got one speck of meat, and then yesterday I was like, I'm just throwing everything out. You ever get that thing where you just got to throw everything out in the refrigerator? It's like, oh God, that smells bad. You just throw it all out, and now I got an empty refrigerator, which I can bleach down and refill this week. But but I still got to do that. It's got a case of pop in there, and so I went and bought a 9-pack. I was like, man, it's noodles, it's ramen noodles, or freeze dried potatoes from my stock, from my my zombie apocalypse stock that I keep. It's like I can do the freeze dried potatoes, which taste like hell, or I can run up on my bike and have some fun and get the 9-pack. I told Rick I got the 3-pack or 2-pack. I was so proud after I took that jump off the snow mound that I started calling myself 2-pack with my chicken pack. So I got home and I have chicken now. That was great. You don't understand around here. It's a food desert. It's a little town, and it's a condensed area here. And we got one shopping store, and then you have to go like miles to get to something else. And we don't have too many restaurants. We don't have no restaurants. As a matter of fact, we have to drive into the other side of the river over there to actually get something to eat and go over to where the good people live. And that's just the way it is for us. And we have a food desert over here. So going out on my bike to get something usually entails a little bit of a drive. And 20-degree weather is kind of cool. But you make fun. You make it fun. That's what I did today. You just make it fun. And I think that's more of being Mgtow. After you figure out all this stuff, you just try to make whatever you do, whether you work on cars or do plumbing or, bowling or whatever, you just make it fun as you can and live with that, because the world is all screwed up. And until we work through this, and I don't know if we're ever going to work through it, they're going to have to introduce postmodernism in schools. And with that, they're going to have to introduce ideas of traditional roles are out the door, and that means religious traditional roles too. And you guys can still get married. We're not telling them they can't get married and go before Jesus and do those vows and everything, but they could do that in their own churches and give themselves little certificates of marriage and shit, because the government should not be in that. There's enough knowledge out there to know that the government should not be in these traditional things in marriage and kids and everything. They'll be involved with the kids, because the sad part about marriage is it produces kids, and then the people that fail doing it, and then the government has to step in. But that's one of the problems with the red pill too. If you're thinking about that way and you're trying to bargain with that, there's some definite things that are true in this. And them are the things you're going to have to wake up. She's not in a Walt. Sooner or later, some other dude's going to walk by and she's going to want that D. That's just the way it is. She has every right to do with that in this modern world. Now, she has every right to do her polygamy. She can have 4 or 5 husbands with 4 or 5 babies, run through them. And the only one that's stuck to the traditional role is you. The government will hold you responsible to that traditional provider. You're no longer the protector. Next dude is. You're the provider. And then she get enough of those providing roles. She's living pretty good. I've seen them. I've seen a lot of them. As a matter of fact, in my life, girl around the corner, we used to laugh. I told you this all the time. We used to sit and watch baby daddy number 1, 2, 3, and 4 show up on Friday to pick up their kids. We used to sit, get up a beer. It's like, oh, it's going to begin. The show's going to begin soon. I mean, they're going to be looking. First, they all come up and they're all stoic and shit, and they're just looking at each other. And baby daddy number 1 knows that baby daddy number 2 took her from him. Baby daddy number 3 knows that baby daddy number 2, or baby number 2 knows that 3 took, and baby number 3 knows that 4 is probably in that house right now. And and they're all looking at him like that. They're sizing up on each other, wanting to kick each other's ass. And it was, whoo. We used to sit and laugh at that. And I seen that little girl in the store. She was doing that about 15, 16 years ago. And she was already on baby daddy number 4, and she was getting to the peak point. And then now she tailed off, and her ass was like that big, and she didn't look good. And I can't remember her name. I won't say it on. And I says, "How you doing there?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I says, "I knew the last husband." And I says, "Is Dan still around?" And she said, "No, Dan left. He just took off. I don't know where he's at." And I was like, and yeah, that ass got that big. And I was like, yeah. How you doing raising those kids? Lovely little kids. How's that decision thing going now? But she hasn't been able to find baby daddy number 5 yet. It's just pure, strictly simp provider, because that's a hard one. You can always, go over to Eli Club over there, or Gemma and Eli, and them simps will take that baby daddy number 5 just provider soul on, just for the V. For the split V, but that's not a job that, ooh man, that's been used. but they'll take it still. The incels and the TFLers, they'll fill those roles. Hello RP, hello Thread, hello Mr. Elite, hello Cesspool Endeavors. Hello everybody. So we're talking about the new red pill, the new red pill that's coming around. We see our threads, the Mgtow threads being saturated, because they always slip the word Mgtow in there, like we care what they say, and they'll start doing the shaming language, and they're looking for the Nawalts. That special unicorn out there. There's a whole field of them. I should put a field back here of unicorns. I just think that would be so funny. And they're like rhino unicornuses. They're a little bit chunky now. Yeah, rhino unicornuses, they're more common nowadays. They're not too hard to find. You can find a rhino unicornuses. That's the rhino Nawalt. Uh, but that's just funny. Yeah, if you settle for that, it just depends, it just depends how low you want to go, man. You can get a crazy girl that carries her purse around on a little in wheels and talks to imaginary people. Crazy girl, she's fun for about a day. She might be your Nawalt, but they're looking for that special Nawalt creature, and it's always been the same. They're all a waltz, and you can't argue with that. You can't put them in that traditional role and expect that that's going to work out nowadays when everything, absolutely everything, is in their favor, including the polyandric roles of marriage. She can get married, remarried, and have 4 boyfriends, and they'll accept her down at that Health and Human Service Department like she's like the goose that laid the golden egg, because she is. She's the goose that laid the golden egg, and that's the one that keeps them busy down there at those Health and Human Service Departments. They can give her free everything. Free everything. Wish I could get free everything. I mean, I run out of peanut butter and I got no money. There ain't no peanut butter coming in the house and no one's paying for it except for me. And that's just the flat truth. It must be a wonderful existence. And I don't expect them to give that up. And people, I see all the trad-cons. Well, they're just going to have to give up that welfare support. Yeah, like they're going to give that up. I don't think that's really going to happen. Because if I had it, I wouldn't give it up. I think you just do the reverse dielectric on that. Just put yourself in that position. If I had 3 ex-wives sending me money every month, and all I had to do is sit my ass in this chair, talk to my friends on the internet, and they just loaded me down with money and free education, would I want to give that up? Hell no, I wouldn't. I'd fight for that too. Gee whiz, But I'm an extremist. That's what they call me. I'm an extremist because I don't believe in fatherhood. I don't believe that dad's a real thing. I think it's a social construct. And they got us pinned down by a social construct underneath their thumb, their big fat traditional thumb in the government. And they want all men to believe that you being a father is a real thing. You had a baby. No, she had a baby. You can't have a baby. You're a dude. Never forget that. And that's the truth of it. That's the bottom line truth. A lot of these guys will sit and argue with me. I sit and I snicker too with them. I was like, dude thinks he's going to have a baby. That is the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. Where's it going to come out of? Son of a... Wish exactly. Son of a gun. They're stupid. But with traditional comes traditional roles, and those tradcons are bringing those in, and they want to hold you responsible. So you get the shaming language, like Hammerhand had to go through. You can yell at and call the deadbeat dad. That's just more shaming language, because if you bought into that traditional role and you think you're a father, then they're going to hold you responsible. Then they're going to get to call you that. Doesn't that make sense for you? You volunteered for your own demise there. Never give your enemy ammo. When the soldiers, they leave the battlefield, they take all those guns and ammo with them, because if they leave them laying around, someone's going to shoot them back at them. That's what they're doing with that. And never give your enemy ammunition. And to believe in fatherhood in the traditional way is giving your enemy ammunition. And that's the big thing. I know that's an unfriendly observation that a lot of men have to get over. They think they're fathers. They want to be fathers. I know it's a joyous thing teaching the little children how to do things, but still doesn't make you the responsible party. She had the baby. You didn't. It's her baby. The judge will tell you that at the end of the divorce. He's going to you're no longer the father. And then I thought, well, geez, if I was a father, then you wouldn't, if father was a real thing, you wouldn't be able to do that. You wouldn't be able to slash it off of history with a stroke of a pen. So must make sense. Uh, but a lot of guys argue, and I just think it's funny. I just sit and snicker, and I'm a lot easier now in my old age. I used to just laugh at them and go, "You're an ass," but nowadays I just, yeah, why don't you go do that? I tell them, and then in about 30 years, come back and tell me that I was wrong. Go do that, uh, son of a. Whew. So that's my, I just thought I'd come on and talk a little today because I don't do videos every day anymore, and I just talk once in a while. And I know I've got my specific brand of extreme Mgtow, extreme logic, but and nobody likes, none of the red pillars want to come around and listen to that because they're still bargaining with their Nawalts. And wow. I hope they get everything. I told one guy, I hope you get everything you want. Because my father used to tell me a long time ago is don't argue with fools. Just give them what they want. And usually what they want is the worst thing in the world. And that's what you do with a fool. And so I want to keep this short and pleasurable, and I can you know, not go on for a few hours here. And I think I'm going to wrap this up. And I want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming around and supporting me, even though I don't do the videos too often. I'm going to shave up and get a nice shirt and try to present myself a little better. But yeah, sure I will. Uh, son of a bitch. And work on my product here a little bit. But thanks for coming around and supporting me and listening to my ramblings. And most of all, man, thanks a lot for being Mgtow. Because without you guys, I wouldn't have no one to talk to. You guys take care. Thanks a lot for being Mgtow, man.